Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president and nuclear scientist, is one of the most loved and inspirational personalities of our nation. Everyone gets inspired from his life. In this chapter, some instances from his childhood has been mentioned. The chapter is an extract from his autobiography, Wings of Fire. Let's read and understand the chapter. Can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? APJ Abdul Kalam, whose project in space, defense, and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was a scientist and also a statesman. Statesman is a person who holds a powerful position in politics. He held the position of President of India, which is one of the topmost position in India. He guided India in 21st century with his projects in space, defense, and nuclear technology. Due to his effort, India today is a nuclear power. He has mentioned about his childhood in his autobiography, Wings of Fire. Autobiography is a book written by person himself about his life. Wings of Fire is autobiography of Dr. Kalam. So Dr. Kalam was a scientist, a statesman, a writer, and also a very good speaker. He inspired many students through his speeches. Let's now read the chapter. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras. Erstwhile means former name. Madras is now known as Chennai. My father, Jainulabuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom. Innate means inborn, which is in one's nature, and a true generosity of spirit. Generosity means being kind and large-hearted. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiamma. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I'm quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. Dr. Kalam says that he was born in a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram, which is in Chennai. His father was neither much educated nor much wealthy. Despite all these disadvantages, he was very wise and he was very kind. He had a large heart. He had an ideal soulmate and helpmate in Kalam's mother, Ashiamma, who used to feed many people in a day, more outsiders than the members of the family. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks. Undistinguished means ordinary. Born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of 19th century. It was fairly large pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. My austere father, austere means severe and strict, used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. Materially means in terms of material and possession. So Kalam says that he was one of the many children. He was just an ordinary boy with an ordinary look, born to pretty and handsome parents. He lived in their ancestral houses. Ancestral is which you inherit from your ancestors, from your forefathers. So the house was old. It was their ancestral house, which was built in the middle of 19th century. It was a large pakka house, which was made of limestone and brick. It was in the Mosque Street of Rameswaram. His father was very strict. He used to avoid all the unnecessary comforts and luxuries. However, he provided all the things which was necessary for living in terms of food, medicine, and clothes. And Kalam says that his childhood was secure, both in terms of material things, that means things that has physical existence, and emotionally also his childhood was secure because his father and mother, they were there to provide emotional security. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. So Kalam was only 8 when Second World War started in 1939, and for some reasons he says I have never been able to understand. A sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So there was a sudden demand of tamarind seeds in the market during the Second World War. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provisional shop on Mosque Street. Kalam used to collect all those seeds and he used to sell them to a provisional shop. Provisional shop is a shop in which we get things of daily use. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Princely means generous amount. It is used ironically here. So he used to get a good amount of 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines of Dina Money. So Kalam says that his brother-in-law Jalaluddin used to tell him stories from the World War which he later used to trace in the headlines of Dina Money. So Dina Money from here we can say was a newspaper because you trace the headlines in newspaper only. So Kalam used to trace the stories of World War in the headlines of Dina Money. Our area being isolated means cut off from rest of the world, was completely unaffected by the war. Since Kalam was living in an area which was not connected with the world outside, so it was isolated, so it was not affected by World War. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces. Allied forces are the armies of UK, USA and Russia during Second World War. But soon India was also pushed in the World War. It was British rule in our country at that time. And India was pushed in the war. And something like a state of emergency was declared. So due to war, there was a state of emergency. The first casualty came, the first effect of World War came in the form of the suspension of train halt. Train halt means train stoppage at Rameshwaram station. So first effect of World War was the train which used to stop at Rameshwaram station. It stopped stopping there. So it did not stop there anymore. The newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So first, initially the newspaper bundles were taken out from the train which has stopped. Now the newspaper bundle, as the train would not stop there, were supposed to be thrown from the moving train on the roads between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. And that forced Kalam's cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch those bundles from moving train. And somehow Kalam fit in the job. He helped his cousin Samsuddin in catching those newspaper. And this is how Kalam earned his first wages. He also earned some money before by selling tamarind seeds. But this is how by catching the newspaper, he earned his first proper wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. So even after half a century, Kalam can feel the pride he felt when he earned his first money. So whenever people start earning money, they feel pride in it because they become independent financially. Every child is born with some inherited characteristic into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment. So every child is born in such an environment where he inherits, that means where he takes some quality from his parents, from his ancestors into a particular socio-economic, that means social and economical and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. Figures of authorities are elders in the power, elders in your family. So children are trained in certain way by elders in the family. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father, from my mother. I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. So Kalam also inherited some qualities from his parents. From his father, he inherited honesty and self-discipline. And from his mother, he inherited, that means he took the quality of faith in goodness and deep kindness. Kalam had, and also his brother and sister. His brother and sister also inherited the same quality. Kalam had 3 close friends in his childhood, Ramanand Shastri, Arvindan and Shiv Prakashan. All these boys were from orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. Orthodox means in which traditions are followed very severely, very strictly. So these were all from traditional Hindu Brahmin family. As children, none of us ever felt any difference among ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. So children are away from all the differences of the world. They don't understand all these differences. So as children, they never felt any such differences that was in their upbringing when they were growing up. In fact, Ramanand Shastri was the son of Pakhi Lakshman Shastri, the highest priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of Rameshwaram temple from his father. So, his friend Ramanand Shastri, he was the son of head priest of Rameshwaram temple, and later he also became the head priest. Arvindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. Pilgrims are religious travelers. So Arvindan started business of arranging transport for religious travelers, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for Southern Railways. So he started taking contracts of catering in Southern Railways. During the annual Sri Sitaram Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of Lord from the temple to the marriage site situated in the middle of pond called Rama Tirtha, which was near our house. So during the annual function, which was called Sitaram Kalyanam, Kalyanam is a Tamil word for marriage. So it was Sitaram Kalyanam ceremony. Kalam's family used to arrange boats with special platform, with special space on the boats to carry idols of Lord from temple to the marriage site, which was situated in the middle of the pond called Rama Tirtha. So the place where the idols were taken was situated in the middle of the pond, which was near Kalam's house. Events from Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. Kalam's family, Kalam's mother, parents, grandparents, they were very liberal, and they used to tell Kalam and other brothers and sisters events from Ramayana and from the life of Prophet Muhammad. His grandmother used to tell those stories to children, his grandmother and mother. One day when I was in the 5th standard, a Rameshwaram elementary school, a new teacher came to our class. So in 5th standard, in elementary, that means primary school, a new teacher came to their class. Now Kalam, since he was a Muslim, he used to wear cap, which marked him as Muslim. And Kalam used to sit on the front row with Ramananda Shastri, who used to wear this sacred thread, which Hindus call Janeyu. Now the new teacher could not stomach means could not tolerate a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. So as per the social ranking according to the new teacher, he told Kalam to sit at the back. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanand Shastri. Kalam and Ramanand Shastri, they both felt very sad. He looked utterly downcast. Ramanand looked very sad as Kalam was shifted to the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So Ramanand Shastri started weeping. He started crying when Kalam was told to shift to the last row. And that image of him crying remained in the mind of Kalam for a long time. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. After school, the children went home and they told their parents about what had happened in the school. Lakshman Shastri summoned the teacher. Summoned means called. Lakshman Shastri, father of Ramanand Shastri, he called the teacher in the presence of children, told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. In the presence of children, he told the teacher that he should not put the poison of inequality and intolerance, social inequality, inequality on the basis of caste, religion, and differences on the basis of religion. He should not put all these poisonous things in the mind of children who are very innocent. He bluntly means straightforwardly, asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. So he straightforwardly, directly told the teacher to either apologize, say sorry for what he did, or he should leave the school and the island as well. Nor did only the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction. Conviction means a strong opinion or belief. Lakshman Shastri conveyed, ultimately reformed this young teacher. Reformed means improved. So the teacher not only just regretted what he did, but the strong opinion or belief that Lakshman Shastri conveyed to the teacher also changed this young teacher, and he did not spread such kind of differences in the minds of children ever again. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. The society was segregated, that means divided in different social groups, and all the groups, they were very rigid in terms of their belief and their behavior in the society. They had their own communities. However, my science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. But his science teacher, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, who was also from an orthodox Brahmin family, and he had a very conservative wife. Conservative means who believe in her own religious practices, who cannot go beyond in what she believes. He had a conservative wife, was someone of a rebel. The teacher was a rebel, as he did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying background could mingle easily. So he tried to break all those social barriers which was creating differences between people, and he tried that people from different background, they should mingle easily, they should mix with each other. He used to spend hours with Kalam, and he would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of big cities. He saw the potential of Kalam, and he told Kalam that I want you to be on par, that means to be equal to the highly educated people of the big cities. One day, he invited me to his home for meal. One day, the teacher invited Kalam to his home for meal, and his wife was horrified. She was scared at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. Ritually pure means kept protected from all outside influences for observation of observance of religion. That means she was very religious and conservative lady, and she could not tolerate any person of different religion entering into her kitchen. So she was horrified with the idea of a Muslim boy entering in her kitchen, and she refused to serve me in her kitchen. So she denied Kalam entering and eating in her kitchen. Shiv Subramania Iyer was not perturbed. The teacher, he was neither affected nor disturbed. Neither did he get angry on his wife, but instead he served Kalam with his own hands and sat down next to him to eat his meal. The wife was watching everything from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal when I was leaving his house. So Kalam just wondered if there was any difference in the way he ate his food, drank water, cleaned the floor after eating, and while he was leaving. Shiv Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next week. The teacher again invited Kalam to join him for the dinner, and Kalam was hesitant. Seeing the behavior of his wife, Kalam showed his hesitant. On that, the teacher said that once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So when you decide to change the system, the bad things in the society, such problems will occur, and you have to face them, you have to handle them. When I visited his house the next week, Shiv Subramania Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So next time when Kalam visited, Mr. Iyer's wife was totally changed. She not only invited him to her kitchen, but also served food to Kalam with her own hands. So when you are determined to reform the society, the changes will happen. It will take time, but it will happen. Then the Second World War was over, and India's freedom was imminent. Imminent means sure, unavoidable. World War was over, and India's freedom was unavoidable. It was sure that India will get freedom. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. Gandhiji declared that Indians will build their own nation. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. Unprecedented is never seen before. Optimism is hopefulness for future. So the entire country was filled with hope. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramananthapuram. So Kalam also took permission from his father. He asked for his permission to leave Rameshwaram and go to district headquarters Ramananthapuram for higher studies. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? The father told Kalam that, Abul, I know one day you will have to leave your house and you will have to go face the outside world. As seagull also leaves its nest and faces the sun all alone. He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of lives longing for itself, life which want to live and explore. So he quoted poet Khalil Gibran's words to his hesitant mother, who was hesitant that Kalam is going out for higher studies. So he said that your children may be born from you, but they are not just your children, they are the children of life, life which wants to live, which wants to explore. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. So you give birth to your children, but they are not born for you. They are born for life. You may give your love to your children, but you can't impose your thoughts on your children because they will develop their own thoughts. This way, Kalam had all the supports from his parents, from his teacher. Kalam had a great potential to be a successful scientist, which he became later, and he became a successful person in his life. He was liberal, he was open-minded, he was talented, and that's how he gained success, and that's how he became one of the most loved, inspirational, and successful person in India. This was the chapter My Childhood about Abdul Kalam. I will see you in my next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.